Hello, we are 5 Writers, 5 Minutes, 5 children's authors handing out our top writing tips. And today we're 4 Writers, 5 Minutes because Tristan Banks couldn't be here. I'm Lian Tanner.
I'm Zanni Louise.
I'm Deborah Abella.
And I'm Sarah Armstrong.
Today we're talking about the fact that every writer is different. As writers, we spend all this time in our imaginations, and our stories are really, really important to us. And I have found that it is far too easy to look at other writers and worry about whether I'm doing it right or not. So I thought this would be really interesting to talk about as a group, how we deal with it, how we stay on an even keel as a writer, and how we keep that in our minds that we're all different. Zanni, is this something that concerns you at all? How do you deal with this?
Oh, absolutely. It's such an important topic, Lian, so I'm really glad you've brought this to the table. Yeah, every writer is different. It's really important to remember this when you approach your creative work, and your creativity is this lovely little thing that you need to look after and take care of. And one of the ways I take care of it is by trying not to compare myself to other people. The fact is, creativity isn't a competition. Like, even though we have awards and things like this, it's really not. Like, because, it's so specific to each individual. I don't think you can compare different creative works. There are strengths in different creative works, but from a reader's point of view, every reader is different too. Every reader has such specific tastes. So, how are you, the writer, going to fulfill all of their needs and desires for every single reader in the world? It's impossible, right? So I remind myself of that when I'm writing. And we're quite a close-knit, little children's book writing world. It could be very easy to look over the fence and go, oh, what are they doing? And oh, they're doing it better than me. But it's just futile. It's not necessary. It's not helpful. That's the thing I get back to. Anything that doesn't help me with my creativity, I try not to do. So I think in terms of strategy, it's just about turning back in. I'll go back to my story. I'll remind myself what brings me joy. Oh yeah, that's right, I love this about my story. And maybe I miss out on an opportunity like an award or something like this, and I might feel sad for a moment, but then I'm like, okay, well done to that person. That's awesome. am really happy for that person, and now I'm going to go focus on what gives me joy and what my strengths are as a creative person, because we all have something wonderful to give.
I love that, Zanni. It's so true, and we are all unique. And that's a good thing we have to embrace. And I find the kids book world, they're actually really generous when someone wins an award, even if we thought, oh, I would have really loved to have won that. There's a generosity in this world that's so lovely. And also, if you compare yourself with others too, it can actually kill your creativity. It can be one of the worst things for your creativity, because your brain is going, oh, I'm not good enough and I'll never be any good enough, instead of all of that energy going into, actually, I really like this character and I really can't wait to find out what happens next. And one of the beautiful things, and Lian sort of mentioned this right at the beginning too, you actually can't get writing wrong. And I tell this to kids all the time. That is one of the beautiful things about like a writing workshop that we do together. Or what you do is you just dive in, have fun, go towards the point of that story that you are really excited by, and don't worry about the rest of the world. Just worry about your characters and what's going to happen next and how exciting it is. And then that actually gives you courage and gives you confidence as well. So the good thing is to read other authors you admire, listen to your fellow authors, your peers, and their writing too. And if it's very good, you think, that is so good. I would like to write a descriptive passage too that is just as evocative as, my friend just read out. So I think my main message is trust yourself. You are unique, and enjoy your writing.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with everything you've both said. And I think that trusting yourself is so key. It's about trusting our own process. I mean, I would love to write as quickly as Zanni, for instance, but I don't. I would love to be as funny in my writing as Lian, but I'm not. I would love to have the sort of Deb Abella voice that is just so Deb. Every single book you write is just pure Deb, and I just don't, because I'm not any of you. So I think I have just had to learn to trust my own voice and my own curiosities and concerns about the world. Because if we write about what we're really interested in, whether it's loneliness or the love of a pet or playing football or whatever it might be, we write about something we really love and we're really interested in, then that passion will come through in the writing and we'll be more engaged in it. And readers will love it either because they're also into, football or whatever, or simply because that passion comes through and the story will be more engaging. So I think it's like trusting what you're interested in and trust that you can find a story there and trust the voice of your character. You don't have to write like other people. If it comes out, you think, wow, I haven't read anything else anyone else has written that's quite like this. Fantastic. Just go for it with that, because it's those kinds of voices that are so exciting to read as a reader. And whether it's you hear it in a school classroom or you read in a book you get from the library, that's so exciting to really read an original voice. So yeah, I think it can be really limiting to worry about what other people think, and it can squash your writing. I mean, worrying about what other people think generally is a really good thing to avoid in life, but in terms of writing, absolutely. So yeah, I think just trust how those words land on the page and don't worry about what everyone else is doing.
Oh, that's so true, Sarah. Years and years ago, I read something where I think it was actually a visual artist who said this, where they said, not everyone will like your work. And I cut it out and put it on my notice board because it spoke so strongly to me. And I thought it was so important. And I think this is probably one of the number one things that I try and remember, that not everyone is going to like my work, that I can write the absolute best story I know how, and there will be people who hate it for whatever reason, and I think that this is one of the reasons why we have to be really careful reading reviews or who we get feedback from. There's no point worrying about it. Like as you three have said, we have to write from the heart. We have to write from our heart. And if we try and please everybody, what we end up doing is dumbing down the story and making it really bland. So write from your heart. Remember that all writers are different, and that is actually a really lovely thing, because what it means is that there is nobody else in the world, the entire world, who can tell the stories that you can tell. The stories that you are going to tell are absolutely unique, and the world needs those stories.
Well said.
So keep in mind, every writer is different. Thanks for listening to us today. We're 5 Writers, 5 Minutes. You can find us on podcast or YouTube, and we will be back next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.